Welcome back to House TV Live. I'm Rick Spence, and with me today is Jessica Nelson with Etch Design Group out of beautiful Austin, Texas. We got a special treat today. Jessica, give me a little feel for this home. It's really beautiful from the outside and even prettier on the inside.
Oh, thank you. So our clients had reached out to us for this home. They'd lived there for about 6.5 years, and they decided they wanted to just gut the house and kind of start from scratch.
Dream project for you, right?
Absolutely.
The first thing when you head in, you see there's a lot of space, and it's not necessarily symmetrical space. It's like a very interesting design on the inside. What are the key elements that make this work?
So I like to call this room like the perfect wabi-sabi mid-century modern design. It really celebrates the imperfect nature of natural materials and finds inspiration in colors and textures of nature. So you'll notice a lot of wood in the space. We've got these beautiful ceiling beams, the beautiful herringbone floors, but we also have these iron balusters with the white oak stair treads, and everything just flows together so nicely. One of the best parts of it, I think, is the backdrop of the fireplace. We've got this beautiful fireplace tile and a matte black finish, and it just provides such a subtle backdrop and textural element for the space. It wasn't fussy. It was very just kind of streamlined, and I think it just provides such an ambiance for the space that's just inviting and it's kind of welcoming.
Tell me about some of the selections in terms of the textiles, the furniture.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing that stands out is the Herman Miller Noguchi coffee table. It's obviously a classic mid-century modern staple. You'll see a lot of mid-century modern kind of flair throughout the house. Another thing that also has that mid-century modern take to it are the On3 lounge chairs from Therkogen. It's definitely an iconic mid-century, a piece that we had a custom upholstered with Kelly Wearstler fabric. And it's got this large geometric print, but it's also very colorful and playful. The side table is actually a custom fabricated quartzite, custom made by one of our local fabricators. Probably the largest piece in the space that you notice is the beautiful Varellin upholstered sectional. It's just kind of got this overstuffed, feel to it, very like sink in, hang out, put your feet up and lounge.
I loved what you said about it's not a fussy space. And when you're designing for customers and they have kids, what are your top considerations in a space like this?
So top considerations are always going to be performance fabrics. Obviously, the Kelly Wearstler fabric might not be performance, but we definitely had it treated afterwards to make sure that it can withstand, the use of the kids. For rugs, we always look for 100% wool rugs, something that will really wear in the space nicely. And then for any large sectional or, upholstered piece, we always go performance with families. You can't go wrong with it.
I think a lot of people are going to fall in love with this space. It's just beautiful. When you're designing a space like this and you look at it from different angles, because it's so open, you're approaching this from a 360 mindset. What are some of the tips you can share there?
I think the big thing with a large space like this that has a lot of elements to it is just making sure that things feel balanced in the space. Doing too much in one room can cause almost confusion for, anyone being in the space. But when you can balance the space by having elements that are unique and just very thought through details, kind of balanced throughout the room, it really draws your eye in multiple places. You've got that beautiful floating staircase, and it's got those fun iron balusters with the wooden handrail, but you'll also notice this fun juxtaposition between the flat and the arched balusters to provide that added level of detail in the space. So it's just that fun kind of unique element that's a little unexpected that can draw your eye back behind you as well.
When you have a staircase like that, sometimes that space underneath it goes to waste. I could see the kids turning that into a fort.
A fort, absolutely.
Right? That's what I would do if I was a little kid. Right?
So that was one thing that the client actually kept coming back to. Originally, we didn't have anything there. And the client kept coming back to it saying, I just feel like it needs a little something here. And so we knew we wanted to incorporate some fun art that would be just this fun kind of playful element. And we thought under the stairs would probably be the perfect place for that.
Just such a beautiful space. And then it connects so seamlessly to the kitchen. What were the material considerations and tying all those elements in together?
One of the biggest parts of the kitchen, obviously the cabinetry is what sets the tone for everything. The cabinetry actually ties back to those floating cabinets to the left and the right of the fireplace. It's the exact same wood, exact same finish. We wanted to keep that very consistent between the two spaces. We've got this beautiful Chaldea marble. We actually had that sealed by a local company that can kind of protect it against, we'll say the elements, but really children.
Yeah.
Another thing that you'll notice, the countertop marble, that Calcutta Chaldea, it also runs as a slab splash up the wall. And so it stops just below those upper cabinets. One thing we wanted to do was create some sort of symmetry around the sink area. And so what we did is created this little shelf detail out of that same marble material. It's got a little lip on the front so nothing can fall forward off of it. Just a little, area for them to put a little plant or, something of decoration there, which was just a nice subtle feature.
And I love when you walk in, there's that detail on the island with those wood slats.
Yes, it just provides another level of texture and interest in the space. Originally, that same material was actually going to go on the range hood as well, but we ended up going with a plaster, which we felt just made it a little bit more transitional, a little more simple as well. All of the appliances in the kitchen, obviously with the exception of the range, they have the integrated cabinet panels. So it provides this really clean and seamless look throughout the space.
And they have something a little bit extra because they have a completely separate pantry, sort of like a back kitchen. Walk me through this space, because a lot of people would be happy to have this as their main kitchen.
Their main kitchen, absolutely. It's a pretty big space. This was actually part of the new addition to the house. And so we really got to, play with some of that square footage. They specifically wanted a place to be able to store all of their items that they use regularly, but don't want as viewable. We've got these light quartz countertops, very easy to keep clean, kind of paired that with this beautiful geometric wallpaper. And then I think the white oak floating wood shelves give the space a little bit of warmth. Otherwise, it would just kind of be this mixture between dark and light. But then you add these floating wood shelves in that just provide this warm textural tone to it. It just really balances the space nicely and gives your eye some, focal elements to look at.
All right. Yeah. So let's step into another beautiful space, the dining room.
Absolutely.
And here, I love this space because you get to experience a little bit of the backyard. You've got that great little bar area. Walk me through the dining room a little bit.
Absolutely. So obviously this dining room is kind of the main gathering area. Anytime they're hosting a party or, having friends over, everyone tends to kind of gravitate in the kitchen, and then it overflows into the dining room right here because you've got the bar back behind it. So the bar is just this beautiful backdrop in this space, mid-century style. And you have this beautiful black terrazzo countertop. Hand-painted ceramic tiles also envelop you in that space. It's very clean in the way of a dining room. You'll notice that there's no rugs because obviously kids eating on rugs is kind of a detriment. We've got a beautiful wood dining table. It's got that kind of arch detail to it. And this beautiful hand-blown glass disc light fixture up above. I think that really sets the tone for the space because it's just got this warm and inviting, tone to it. What probably speaks the most in this space is that beautiful artwork from Patrick Puckett. We actually went and scouted several local Austin galleries, and we came up with this piece. And it's just kind of this powerful businesswoman, which is very much my client. And it also had these bold colors that are bolder than anything else that you see in the house, but we just felt like this was the perfect spot to house it.
So as you go through a project like this with a client, and there are lots of layers, lots of decisions that you're making.
Yep.
How did you stay organized? What tools did you use? How did house play a role for you?
So on the house side, it's really important for our clients to be able to have inspiration imagery and different things that they can look at and say, I really love this. Anything to be able to speak to a project is really useful for us as a designer. And then on our side, the House Pro Tool is really what we use kind of from start to finish of the project. So invoicing to client proposals, to tracking a project, and then also creating room boards for the client to be able to see how their space is coming together. We have a pretty big team. There's 12 of us on the team. So whether you're a smaller designer and, just a single design firm with maybe 1 to 2 people, or you've got a larger group, I feel like it kind of scales with the business, which is important.
That's awesome. Do you have time for a couple more spaces? There's a lot more to this home.
Yes, there is. There is.
All right. So let's jump into, which is a really cool space. I mean, what a cool little
Absolutely.
office. When I was first looking at this, I'm like, is the ceiling like a pink color? Like, what's going on the ceiling?
Yeah.
So tell me about this space. Lots to go over.
Lots to go over. So our client really wanted something fun and unique and colorful, and she loved the idea of wallpaper. She has a lot of Zoom calls, so having something as a backdrop to her calls was very important. She didn't want anything boring, and so we gave her nothing of the sort. Some key details: she needed a freestanding desk and also some closed storage for her printer. She didn't want to have it out in the open. She also wanted a space for all of her like personal memorabilia, her photos, something that she feels really happy to be doing work in. Also, the sound level was important to be able to contain in a space like that. And so just a layering of different elements between the rug and the window coverings and the grasscloth ceiling, all of those elements help to play with the sound barrier.
So tell me about, how did you dial in the tint of a pink grasscloth on the ceiling? Like, how does that come to be?
Well, that came to be because of the wallpaper on the wall itself. So you've got kind of this beautiful poppy backdrop, having something to play along with that, but still, stay in the color family of what we have going on. I think she was a little concerned with such a bold color on the ceiling, but I just, she really trusted us in this regard, and it all just plays together so nicely.
If you're going to design a space that has so many elements and so many things to look at, what's the anchor? What do you start with and then build around? Like, what was the thing that it's definitely going to have this no matter what, and we're going to build around with X?
Really, it all came to fruition together. It wasn't kind of one element started it and then it fed off of the other. I think we had ideas of what we wanted in terms of color. The rug was probably the one key item that you use as like your grounding space. And we're like, okay, let's throw some pink on the wall. Let's throw some pink on the ceiling. And then the teal was just a nice opposite from the pink, just a nice way to kind of make that color pop more and stand out. The teal just does a really great job of that. And so kind of pairing them together just creates more of that powerful energy, which we really wanted in her office.
When a room like this is off to the side, like you're not seeing it when you walk in the main living space, it's there, but you have to go into it intentionally. Does that just give you the freedom to get a little crazy with it too?
Yeah.
And how fun was that for you?
Well, the fact that you can just shut the door, it doesn't have to be visible if you don't want it to be visible. But I tell you what, you walk in that front door, and if that door is open, you're going to be like, wow, this room is awesome. It's just got so much to look at and such good energy to it.
All right, one more space.
One more.
This is another really super cool space. This is the kids. What are we calling this? Like a kids' reading room, or?
Yeah, it's kind of the kids' workspace, but it's got, a little nook for reading, just kind of multifunctional for them.
Yeah, I love this space. You go in here and it instantly says kids. It looks like a fairly good sized space. You got all the built-ins. The kids have no excuse not to do their homework.
Right. Well, let's hope so. So she's got 2 younger kids, and we wanted to create a space that they could grow in, but also that would still allow them to have kind of that fun, playful nature about the space and not feel too stuffy. We felt like doing, kind of this fun and playful wallpaper that still had like some adult, tones to it was going to be a good way to accentuate that space. We also played around with different mixtures of pattern and color. We've got the stained wood elements on those floating shelves. We've got the painted wood elements at the daybed. We wanted to offset it with this kind of mint green color. It could go more kid, it could go more adult, it really doesn't matter. But just something fun to be able to play off of there was important. And then again, you've got that reeded wood accent that's also, seen in the downstairs of the island. This is actually done in a more playful way with the painted wood to it. So different elements just to kind of create a little bit more fun and playfulness in the space.
Thank you so much, Jessica. What a beautiful space. Congratulations on all your success, and I can't wait to see more of your work.
Thank you so much, Rick. We really appreciate you having us.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.